Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Self-Discovery Mediums right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Holly Brooks. We're going to be talking about all sorts of wonderful things today. She's an intuitive psychic, spiritual life counselor, life skills teacher, podcast personality, writer, innovator of change. And she says, why do we always have to learn the hard way? Her takeaway is important. Make friends with change and do not run from your pain. The only constant in the universe is change. Everything happens exactly when it's supposed to, and not 1 second sooner. With that knowledge in her mental and emotional and psychic arsenal, she can share her life skills with others. The 3 R's are taught to us in schools. So why are we not teaching the really important lessons of how to handle our difficult emotions, that our perception is our reality, gratitude, fear, and how to navigate it? The list is endless, and in her work, she likes to share the intuitive knowledge of people who are having a rough go of it. A rough go of it. I would say that probably hits quite a number of people at the present moment, wouldn't you, Holly?
Uh, all of us,
Mhm.
especially with the COVID, that
Yes.
just magnifies everything.
Yeah, and there's a huge energetic change going on at the present moment. You know, the cosmic universe, the frequency is changing. And with that change, a lot of people are kind of feeling shaken up. You know,
Mhm.
not never mind COVID, never mind their lives are being pivoted, but there's an energy out there that they quite can't, what's this? How do I tap into this? Is it something to be afraid of? So
Mhm.
there's a lot of change going on at the world right now, which sometimes we just simply have to take a deep breath, right? And take it in.
Breathing is important.
Yes. Not just to keep you alive, but to keep you centered.
Right, to keep you present.
Yeah.
I mean, the past is over. You
Yes.
can't change it.
No.
You can learn from it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the future, if you go too far in the future, you're stressed, you're
Mhm.
anxious, free floating fear. Not good. Best to try and stay centered and present.
Yeah.
Balance is key.
Hmm. The gift of the present is in the now.
Right.
Hmm.
Very true. Very true.
People don't know how to be present because they've been taught, you've got to go and get it. You've got to go and get it. You've got to perceive what you want. You've got to go and get it. Project, go after it. And it's like, just take a breath, man. It's like, how do you know what to go after if you're not paying attention to the gift of the present?
Well, it's something we all do
Mhm.
is overthink
Yes.
everything. I post it constantly. Stop overthinking,
Yeah, feel it,
please.
don't think it. Yes.
Right. And our heads get very noisy. And
Yes.
then we can't hear our intuitive voice. And that's the gift. The intuitive voice is always correct.
Hmm.
It's a map
Hmm.
to our life. And if you're always reaching forward, what's happening in the present?
Yeah. Yes.
You lose it.
Yeah.
You just lose it. So I think it's very important that people are actually taught how to stay present and how to deal with what's going on right now, which is just you and I talking. That's
Exactly.
it.
That's it. Right here, right now. I'm thinking of, I've just become a grandmother. We were talking about the joy of grandmothers, so,
Yes.
and, when you think about it, I do a show every week myself, and it was the perception of this was, my daughter went through 48 hours of labor to bring this beautiful little boy into the world, and it wasn't easy. And any woman who's had birth, please tell me who had it easy, because virtually no one.
No.
Um, and that's the 9 months, the sickness, the backache, the this and that, and then the hours of labor, and then you've got that baby there, and then there's the healing afterwards, and then there's the 2 o'clock feeding, the 4 o'clock feeding, the 6 o'clock feeding, and then
What do
there's
I do now.
Right. And then this chasing the toddler, and then, where are they as teenagers? And
Oh
the
no.
thing is that it is a constant engagement of the now. And if we appreciated how life came into being and all the struggle to grow up into an adult, would we be so callous with human life? And would we not be more in tuned with it? But it just seems there's a missing link in humanity where they've missed that link of the soul heart connection,
Yes,
right?
it is missing. There's too much focus on what's going on around
Mm,
you instead of what's going on inside of you,
yes.
which is where it all
Mm,
starts. It starts with you and loving yourself,
hmm.
not judging yourself,
Big one.
not defining who you are by
Yes.
other people.
Huge one.
And it's really great when your insides match your outside.
Yes. You are that rose that's in bloom. That's what people are going to see you are. If they want to see a daffodil, they're going to look at someone else.
Right.
You know,
That's right.
don't try and change, to somebody else's perception of you. Be
Uh-uh.
true to who you are in that journey into your own self-discovery of who you beautifully are. And judgment, huge one.
Uh,
We're brought up to judge. Right from
that's
the word go, we're brought up to judge. And the fear, oh, if they're different, must be fearful, and it's who is dictating this to us? And when are
mm,
we going to have our own thoughts and opinions and not, adhere to the mainstream out there?
well, society
Yes.
has laid all these social mores and norms on us, and usually they're way off, way off. So if you're trying to
Not
find
even connected.
right, you're trying to swim your way through life, and what a lot of people don't realize is our perception
Mhm.
creates our reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we're afraid of something and we let fear into our head, then everything is colored by that. We have a perception based on fear, and we make our decisions from fear based on fear, and it's always wrong. Always wrong.
Yes. Just, for the fact that you're a psychic. Ooh, voodoo, oh, she must be wacky and crazy and occultish, and it's immediately, like, no, this is the direct channeling to source, to energy, to God. And the knowingness, they will give you what you need to know when you need to know it, and you have just tapped into that beautiful channel of that knowingness, and it's a God's gift. Who came along and said it was evil? Well, we know, the church, you know
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and
And
why? Because
I
they
think,
they don't want people to to have a direct link. They want
right.
you to come to church and be dependent on that, keep you in fear. And then they've got you in control. And everything about psychicness and source is telling us we don't have any control. The only control we have is to know we don't have control, but to go with the flow.
Yes. I mean, it's really important to understand that fear is a liar.
Yeah.
When fear creeps into your head, it colors everything, and you're already not here, you're here.
Yeah.
And you're freaking out. And I can't do this and I can't do that. And what if this happens? What if that happens? But your intuition is a gift. And I
Yes.
love to teach people how to use their intuition. Um, I'm an intuitive psychic, which
Mhm.
is different. If you just go a regular psychic, oh, I see you meeting a tall, dark, handsome man.
I
In,
want a blonde.
okay, I'll order that up.
Yeah.
Um, what happens is, with an intuitive psychic is we do a lot more self discovery.
Yes.
it's more almost like therapy.
Yeah.
So if a client wants a reading with me, I ask them to write down 3 or 4 things they'd like me to look at. And then I use those as jumping off points.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to everything. And then by the end, I'm saying, well, did we get to everything? Is there anything else? And there always is
Mm-hmm.
one more question or whatever. And I'm happy to to complete the circle.
Yeah. Yes.
So I love what I do. And they say that people that are intuitive, I have a friend who's a doctor of metaphysics, and she told me, all of us, we use 10% of our brain.
Mm-hmm.
Intuitives, scientifically studied, use between 12 and 20% of their brain. So it's no voodoo.
Right.
It's just that I see things a little deeper
Mm-hmm.
than some people. That's all it is.
Yeah. And, I always say I'm a spiritual counselor by God's design,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And it is since I was a child, I would counsel someone, my teachers, older people,
My
and it's like,
parents.
how do you know that? I don't know. I don't even know what I've just told you. It's what you needed to know, you know. And I always consider myself just basically a map reader, a counselor and a map reader.
That's
I'm laying out what path is before you. You've got to walk it,
right.
right?
Right.
I'm just saying, this in the backpack or that's a beneficial path. But if you're not interacting with your own life, you're sitting back and waiting for the psychic Amazon delivery, you are always going to be left behind, right? Because you've got to
Right.
be proactive in your own life. But
Right.
what you do is just give them some clarity of
Yes.
understanding where to go, how to move forward, maybe even some people to avoid.
Right. I always say that we all have intuition,
Hmm.
but
Yes.
you need to practice.
Yes.
You need to start small. When the phone rings, don't look at the caller ID and see if you
Mm,
know who it is.
yeah.
If you wake up in the morning and you want to wear blue pants, but your head is going, wear the brown pants. Wear the brown pants. It may seem basic,
Yeah.
but it sort of makes that connection for you. And it takes a lot of practice to learn to use your intuition and not go, I'm just hoping that, or dreaming that, or
Mm.
that can't be true, but it is, which is the hard part to
Yeah,
trust.
if you're needing to get into a certain color, it's the same with foods. If you're going after certain color foods, it's those chakras need feeding, right? You need to be in that color for a reason. You need to
Hmm.
eat that color for a reason. It's fortifying you or it's laying you in the right frequency for whatever it is that you need to,
Hmm.
respond to. So there is nothing that's just like, ha 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 ha. Ha. There's always the frequency is being changed on us. You need this color today because that's the tone we want you in for this situation, right?
Yeah. So, well, I love quantum physics
Mm-hmm.
and quantum entanglement and all of that. And it's really time for us is A to B,
Yes.
linear, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's wavy. And
Yes.
something happens here, it's happening in the galaxy
Mm-hmm.
somewhere else.
Yes. Different dimension. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I love that thinking. So
Mm-hmm.
I go after it, and I like
Mm.
neuroscience because I like to know
Yes.
how our brain works. And I'm
Yes.
seeing all this and feeling all this, and it makes complete sense. Where you keep your emotions, your memories,
Right. Right.
everything.
You look at somebody like Tesla, Nikola
Uh-huh.
Tesla,
Uh-huh.
the amount of wisdom that he was given. Now, had he not been of a certain intellect, he wouldn't have known what to do with that wisdom,
Right.
right?
Right.
But in the end, he was creating these solar lights for healing. And he went down a completely different path, obviously, because he'd been betrayed. But, for him, it didn't stop understanding. And here we are 120, 130 years later, still just scratching the surface of
Very.
all what that he opened up to. But had he not had his brain tapped into the right frequency, he wouldn't have understood the knowingness that was being given to him. So we're not saying don't think, we're saying feel the thoughts, because
Right.
it's the wisdom to the knowledge, right?
Yes. And how do we get wisdom? Ah, there's the rub.
Yeah.
We have to experience pain and
Mm,
challenges in our life. And somebody said to me the other day, "Oh, you are just so positive. It's your personality."
mhm,
And I said, "Not really.
mhm.
It's a choice.
Yes.
I choose to be happy and positive. And when I face something difficult, you can go in the corner and suck your thumb, or you can choose to face it with grace and learn from it." The
Mhm,
universe goes, "Whoa, we just gave Holly cancer 3 times in
mhm.
9 years. And look what she did. She went through it with grace. Let's send her down some more wisdom."
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Yes. And
Everybody.
nothing given to you, it's nothing is given to you that you can't cope with. That's the test of us, is how do we cope with it? Why were you given, knowing that cancer is an 80% emotional disease. Why were
Oh,
you,
about
given cancer 3 times? And it's like sometimes you're taking on other emotions, sometimes it's emotions that could be even past lives or ancestral lives that have got to be dealt with. And every time we are given something, it's not, why me?
that.
you know,
When I was
it
a
is,
kid, I did that.
okay, you've chosen me. What am I meant to do with this? you know, and it's kind of get on with it and go through it, right? Go through the
Right,
process and you'll understand.
right. Well, the only uh, constant in the universe is change.
Yes,
So
yes.
trying to fight that is ridiculous.
And
It's like
obviously, yeah,
running into a
yes,
brick wall and then
right.
bouncing back and running again. It's ridiculous.
which human beings do.
Yes, you're programmed like that.
Yeah,
That
just to pause on that, the book, Who Moved My Cheese? Have you read it? Oh,
no.
you've got to read this. This will intrigue your mind.
Oh,
40
sure.
personalities, 2 mice, 2 men, living around abundance of cheese. One day the cheese is gone. Sniffy and Scurry go and sniff out and scurry around for more cheese. Hem and Ha is like
Uh,
Ha goes through a little bit of emotion before it realizes I'm getting hungry. I've got to go and follow Sniffy and Scurry. And Hem is, give me back my cheese. I'm going to sue you, right? So when we understand that those perspectives, I'm a true colors coach as well, then we understand why some people do keep hitting their head against the wall all the time, right? Because
mhm.
to them it's no, somebody's done me wrong, and
Right,
somebody else has got to fix it for me. This isn't an indication that change is here and you've got to go to move on to a different level. That, I think, is where the mind really starts playing havoc with us, is when we cannot see the door for looking at it.
right. The forest for the trees.
Yes. Hmm.
And it happens almost every day.
Yes. Yes.
Everybody. But we just human beings are so quick to go, "Oh no, what do I do now?" And a deep dive.
Yes.
And then I get calls and I say things and they're like, "How did you know that?"
Right.
Uh, I said, "Well, I feel it. I just
Exactly.
feel it."
Hmm.
And I'm just thinking this may be out of whack here, but when you were talking about psychics
Hmm.
and woo woo,
Hmm.
I cannot tell you over the course of my career how many people call me up and go, "Another psychic told me I was cursed. My
Oh,
family is cursed." I said, "Well, hold on. That's absolutely ridiculous.
yeah.
There is no curse. That's so you call back and pay more money for them
Yes.
to
Yes.
lift the curse."
There's always charlatans everywhere,
Yeah,
right? There are,
yeah.
just and unfortunately those charlatans have, for the genuine. I had a lovely, wonderful psychic on last week. Um, those charlatans put the dampener on the work that you do, which is pure. Um, but this is the buyer be savvy. You know,
Mhm.
uh, read up on the person, ask people, look at the testimonies. Um, there's lots of ways you can know, if it's the emphasis is on the money and not the emphasis on the other things. I mean, I've been a reader all my life as well, and it's even after you've done a reading, and they go, "Yeah, but how did you know that? You researched me."
You Googled me.
Yeah, that's
No,
before Google came about.
just I just like heard it up here.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't use runes or pendulums or cards or crystal balls. I just hear it up here at dates,
hmm
signs,
hmm
yes or no, right
yeah,
or left.
yeah,
I applied for several jobs. My first question is, well, it's an answer. The third job is the one you're going to take. And that works every time. I get like a number in my head,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
And it turns out to be quite right. I
Mm-hmm.
actually did it with my son in law. I'd been for 3 job interviews at the same place. And it was a Saturday. And I said, what's doing? And he said, they said they'd get back to me. I said, well, Tuesday they're going to call you and tell you you got the job. And he said, no, it's too soon. They're busy. And I said, okay. Tuesday morning, I get a phone call. They
Oh.
called me. I got the job. You're spooky.
Yeah. 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 And I suppose to some people we are, right?
Yeah,
Because we're dealing in a realm that they can't see, touch, or taste.
exactly.
But if they opened up, they could feel,
Hmm. I,
right?
yeah, I would like very much to be an agent of change in that I feel with the 3 R's we should be getting the life skills. And I
Hmm.
mean in preschool
Yeah.
through senior and high school. Because, well, first of all, we could be more independent
Yeah.
and our perception would be more clear.
Hmm.
And it would be easier on parents for
Yes.
sure. And the social media thing, I just have to say,
Mm.
watch my granddaughters. My daughter cut it down to like a half hour on Friday, an hour on Saturday, and it's a good thing
Mm.
because social media makes them too smart, too fast,
Yeah.
and they're not interpreting it right.
They're also not interacting. I get this all the time because I use social media a great deal. And I said, yeah, but it's an algorithm and we are algorithms. And if we are feeding and supporting and engaging with people in a
Yeah,
way like a conversation or real concern or real celebration, then we're in that algorithm of support. If
yeah.
you're going into the sensationalism,
Mhm.
the judgment and the dictation, then that's going to change your algorithm, and that's what's going to come at you. So
Right,
it is like with everything in life, what you water will grow, what you feed
right.
will grow. So there are many, many platforms out there that have been given a bad rap because they haven't been used properly or abused. Internet, we're doing this by the
Mm,
internet. The deep, dark web. Yeah, it's
right.
down there. It's a sewage down there. But that doesn't mean all internet is bad.
No.
And that it comes with everything in life, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
please be discerning. Where is your feeling towards it, not your fear towards it.
Yeah, I think it's really important because I watch my granddaughters and I'm like, are your eyes stuck to
Mm,
that screen?
mhm.
Oh, you're here. Where's your phone? And my daughter gives me a dirty look. And I forgot it. I don't have it. I just think that it's much more important to go inside.
Yes.
And everything springs from love.
Yes. Oh, hallelujah. Yes.
You
Yes.
talked about the cancer
Yes.
and emotions,
Hmm.
and I'm very into energy healing.
Hmm.
And they are discovering, we used to think it was our brain
Right.
that controlled. It's not, it's
No.
our heart.
I've never had much control with the brain. It went to lunch.
Right, right. And didn't take you with it.
No.
No, I think it's really important because if you spring from love,
Mm,
that is the ticket. That's the key. And it is wonderful. I did not when I was younger. I
right.
was emotional and
Yeah.
reactive. And instead of reacting, we need to act
Yeah.
and we need to put fear away. We really do. And I love this saying, welcome to the Karma Cafe. You are
Hmm.
served what you deserve. And that's
Yes. That's
true.
neat. That's really neat. And that's so very true because what we put out is what we're going to get back. So if we're
Absolutely.
putting out love and kindness, right?
Coming
It
back
doesn't take too much, for it to come back, but it's got to be with the right intent. You know,
always.
the thing about giving is one of the most beautiful things you can ever do in the world is give to another. Their receiving is already a repayment to you.
Yes.
Now, if
Yes.
you're looking, well, what's in it for me? Well, what's in it for you is knowing that what you've given has had an impact, whether it's an inch or a yard, on somebody, and that is enough gift back to you.
I
Right?
love my work.
Yes.
I love the human mind and
Yes.
I love helping people over those little bumps in the road of life
Yeah.
because there's millions of them.
Right.
And you need to stay in time, balance, and another thing that I'm always saying, boundaries.
Oh, which isn't borders,
No,
right?
it's
Right. It's not borders, it's boundaries.
no.
You know, boundaries is a vibration, a frequency of which you're going to live at, and you will not go lower than that.
Yes, or how, with when someone calls this man did this and
Mm,
that. How far are you going to let this person go before you
right.
put up your hand and say, "Stop, that's enough"?
No
No,
more. No more.
or how far are you willing to go
Mm,
before you say, "Stop,
yeah.
enough"?
Yeah.
And most people have a real hard time saying no, and that is very
I was one of
I'm
those.
not with that anymore. I figure by this age, I'm
Yes.
entitled.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. It took us a long time to get there, right?
4 months, you can say it more often.
Yes. Yes.
I just feel like, you need boundaries. You need to love yourself.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we learn what we live.
Mm,
And if you grow up in an atmosphere where your self esteem is always jumped on, or
mm,
you're wrong, or why
mm,
did you do that,
mm.
you start to question
Yeah.
yourself. It's a normal reaction to what's going on. So I urge all parents to lead with love,
Hmm.
even if your kid does something you can't stand.
Yes.
Sit down, talk to
Hmm.
them, find out how they feel, not what they did, but
Mm,
how they felt about it.
yeah. I mean, you've got kids, I've got kids. My gray hairs have got a lot of names, their names on it, and they've made choices that I haven't liked where I've actually had to say, I cannot be around you. I cannot condone who you are right now. That doesn't mean I don't love you.
Right,
I just can't be around the person that you are now. And when you come back, I'm here with open arms. And eventually they found their way back because they knew that that love was their generator, right?
right,
So
right.
they found their way back, but they had to kind of go down that road because as kids we're explorers and we want to test the limit. But
Oh,
there's
yeah.
all there's also that dictation of you're only important if you're
Mm,
popular, you're rich, you're good looking, you're this, you're that, you put out, you're whatever,
yeah.
and all of that if that kind of conditioning needs to be just thrown into a big bowl and thrown in
Flushed
the
out.
trash.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's the comparison thing,
Yes.
especially in kids. My 9-year-old, she's like, Gigi, I hate my face. Mind you, she's stunning. I hate my eyebrows. They're so thick. I said, don't you touch those. Oh, my eyes are so big, honey. And my lips, look at how big my lips are. Honey, women go to salons to get
Yes.
expected to get lips like that. Let's learn to be happy with who we are inside,
Yeah.
and the rest will follow.
But
And
where is she getting that at the age of 9 to look
yeah,
at herself in that way? I mean, is going back to the judgment, right? Society would rather condemn you and judge you than embrace you for being different.
social media, I
Oh, but
know
even before social media, I grew up with all of that. I was different. I mean, I'm sure with you being a psychic, we were wacky. We were the different ones. Well, I don't know about her. They'll come to you when they're in trouble.
oh,
But
yes.
other than that, it's like, oh, no, I don't want to associate with her, right? Because she's different. So it's always been there. It's just really kind of highlighted more because of social media. It's,
Yes.
being brought up in our faces more. But it's that self-esteem of self-love,
Mhm.
it's so important that we grow up with that. Never mind others loving us. We have to teach people to love themselves.
Absolutely. That's first on the
Mm,
list. It
hmm.
is. And, you know, I see girls that are 13 that look like they're 16.
Yes.
And then other girls her age look at that and they think that's the norm. And
Yes.
it's not.
Yes.
It
Yes.
just isn't. That's why I feel like we should teach this in school.
Yes.
How life skills, I call it, an earth
Mm,
teacher, how
mm.
to deal with fear, how to deal with all those difficult emotions, how to be happy. It eludes so many people.
Yeah. And, the competitiveness and the comparison. I don't like those two C's.
I don't.
We're all flawsome. That's what makes us unique. There isn't one single person that hasn't got a flaw, but that flaw is their quirk, is their idiosyncrasy that makes them who they are. And if we could embrace that person for their flawsomeness instead of looking at them trying to be perfect, because there isn't one single being on this planet that is perfect. And
No,
we were
that's
not meant to be. The beauty, like, diamond with a flaw is the perfect diamond. We are meant to all have little flaws because that's what makes us different.
what
And
makes us who we are.
it does. It's our own
Right.
uniqueness, right? And it's okay to be different, to be quirky. And we're seeing that a lot with a lot of the younger generation that are coming up now as performers. They're not wearing the big makeup. They're
Mhm.
they're not going out with the tinsel look. They're going out there with, this is me, and no makeup, hair wild, but that's who I am, and not conforming to what society thinks I should be as a star.
Right.
And it's refreshing to see. Um,
Mhm.
we've got a long way to go, though, right? And as you said, you're a psychic healer, psychic counselor. Yes, you can show people the path that they have to walk, but it's not just showing them it, it's preparing them emotionally for it as well.
Yes. And I very much feel that we all have that.
Yes, we do.
Sort of direct them to find what they already have.
Yeah,
Most people know the answers to the questions they ask me. They just need somebody to say, yeah, that's what
verify.
it is.
Mhm.
You're on the right path.
Yes.
Keep going. Always move forward.
Yeah. And when
That's what,
somebody says, well, I feel this, but I don't know, other people are saying that. And so what you're doing is validating those feelings, because it's those feelings that, and, sometimes that feeling is fear. And,
mhm,
you've got to understand, is it head fear? Is it conditioning fear? Or is it fear saying to you, no, this is not a good path for you to go down? Because there is that fear that stops us from doing something stupid. But you've
yeah,
got to know the difference between the conditional fear and the intuitive fear.
right. And in order to read your intuition,
Mm.
it's just 3 steps. Quiet your head so
Yes.
you can hear that voice. Trust it, which is so hard because usually the further out in left field things are that I hear, the
Mm.
more correct they are.
Yeah, yeah.
And then act upon it, which is
Yes.
also very hard to do.
Yes.
But I teach a seminar in that. I like it a lot.
Mm.
It's super important because we all have it.
A lot of people think that psychics, you've told them so now for it's being manifested and they just sit back, wait for the cosmic Amazon delivery. No, it's telling you what lays before you so you know how to walk it, how to
Right,
embrace it, how to interact with it,
right.
not sit back and wait for it to happen.
I love that psychic Amazon. I want, they should have a department for
Yeah.
that. Oh, there's an empty box at my front door from Amazon. Oh my goodness, it's life lessons.
Yes.
Nice.
A lot of people do think because you're psychic, you must have, why don't you know the lotto numbers? Um, or why did you have cancer? Or why have you had struggles? If you're psychic, you should avoid all of that. And they don't realize that we don't choose our channeling, it's chosen for us. And we're still human beings. I'm a cosmic being having a human life, and you are too.
Right.
And that human life is still going to go through its own struggles. But in tunement with your cosmic being, it's going to always guide you through it to the other side, stronger, wiser, um, more courageous. And if this whole thing is that, you should know it all because you're psychic or nothing should ever happen to you. And the other thing is that nobody should pay you, right? Because you're psychic, so it's God's gift, so nobody should pay you. Well, it's you're a human being with a roof that needs to go over your head, food in your stomach, and that needs to be maintained as well. So this whole thing about don't pay because that's, it's a gift. No, it doesn't work that way. A musician has a gift. Even politicians have a gift, some of them. Everybody deserves that monetary gain because that is the base of the foundation for which to springboard from.
I taught ballet and jazz for like 27 years.
Mm,
And I feel very much that if you have a gift,
yeah.
it is your responsibility to the universe to
Yes.
share it.
Yes.
Share it. Enrich the lives of others.
That's why you were given that gift.
Right. I love my jazz teacher says I put my hand on my heart
Mm,
and I dance.
mm,
Because when people go, I can't dance, I go, but you can.
yes.
You sure can.
Yes.
And I'm happiest when I'm dancing.
Mm,
Love it. I just love it. And because of COVID, all the studios in New York are closed.
mm-hmm,
So I've been taking class via Zoom since last March. It's
mm-hmm.
best. So I like that. And I also feel, with all deference to other psychics, mediums, whatever, but if somebody is charging you an outrageous
Yeah.
sum of money, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
I just, I do not do that.
Right.
I probably have the lowest price
Mm,
because I feel like that way at least I can reach a lot of
yeah.
people.
I agree with you. The same with my podcasting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah.
like that. So I try to be accessible
Mm.
to as many people as possible.
And we are in uncertain times.
Oh,
And energetically, I know that we're in an energetic growth, which is, I'm just loving. Every year I have a word that is the word for the year, and this word this year is actionism. We had contemplation last year, reviewing our
oh,
lives and reviewing ourselves and reviewing life in general. And this year is taking action, whether it's just seeding, but it's taking action. And I feel the energy is with us. And,
mhm,
the more psychics that we have that can explain, how to use that energy in the right direction,
mhm,
right? That's the clarity, because I always see psychics as, as the clear ones, as the clarity, because you have got this in your mind and that in your mind and this in your heart and that, and this is tapping you on the shoulder, and it's an all jumbled mess. And a psychic would come along and go, throw that one away. This one's a good one. All right, act on that one. That's the clarity. Now, in that clarity, you can start moving forward. And
yes,
that's what you are. You're giving them that clarity to put themselves in gear.
a life map.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And my readings always go the same.
Hmm.
Nobody calls me because they're happy.
Right.
So they call and their voices are a little
Yeah.
quivering and they talk, and then there's tears because we touch on things
Hmm.
close to our hearts. And by the end, they're laughing.
Yeah.
And I say, whoa, I did a good job.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. When somebody walks away with that deep breath, I can see clearly now.
Right?
It's gone. That is, it's very, very rewarding. I mean, the reasons I don't do readings anymore, except for one or two people, but the reasons why I do this podcasting, which I've just had my ninth anniversary of doing this, is because I'm bringing forth people like you who have the skills, have the tools, have the wisdom to pass on. And,
Mhm.
people say, well, your show should be 15 minutes. I said, if you're looking for a quick fix in 15 minutes, you're not ready for the information,
Mm-mm.
right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Reason why we're length of time is not only because there's so much to peel back and really look at the depth of it, but also for you to dive further and further into it,
Mhm.
right? I
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just thinking that there are ethics in
Yes,
in this
yes,
kind of work.
yes.
You had mentioned gambling
Hmm.
and lottery numbers.
Hmm.
That's unethical. I
Right.
don't go near it. I
Yeah.
tell people I do not do that.
Right.
And I also don't go walking around in someone's head unless
Yeah.
they ask me.
Yes. The free will, the permission, you can't do it other than that, right? So you
Yes.
can't help people who aren't willing to be helped as much as you
Another
would like to.
another thing I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
I was at my best friend's party and there's lots of people, and all of a sudden I hear her in the kitchen going, Holly's a psychic. Why don't you all line up and have?
Oh no.
And I thought, oh, there goes the party. But this girl sits down, who's very close with my friend, and I mention an illness in her family, and she stands up and gives me if looks could kill and runs into my friend and said, I thought I told you not to tell anybody.
Uh-huh.
And you told Holly. And she said, but I didn't.
Hmm.
And she was very upset. And then I went, oh, and this is like 20 years ago.
Mm.
Ah, don't give people information they're not asking for. It's their private thoughts. Unless they request,
Yeah.
stay out of it. Stay out of their head.
Yeah, it's the same when you read from someone that you know has no future.
Ooh,
I've had a couple of those occasions, and one of them was my best friend at the time.
ooh.
And I didn't tell her that she was going to pass. I said, you need to go and say goodbye to your father. You need to go and see him and just go and hug family members for your heart. And she went to see her father thinking her father was passing.
Ah.
But I wanted her to do that, to have that closure for him, but also for her soul. And she died of a blood clot aneurysm at the age of 34. And then there
Oh,
was another young girl of 13 that came to me, and it didn't matter because I use cards as a clarity. I'm a gypsy
right.
reader, so it is kind of taking what, because everything for me is a movie in my head. So it's taking the movie and kind
Mhm.
of looking at, okay, that speaks me, that doesn't. It just puts things in order. And it didn't matter what I did. There was no future for this girl. There was no door. There was just a blank slate. And I just said, you're in the wrong energetic state today, my love. Go home and just go and do something really nice for yourself and raise your vibration. She
Right.
died in a car accident a week later. And it's like people have said, well, you're not going to tell me I'm going to die. I'm like, no, I'm not going to tell you that. It's not my
Mhm.
position to do that. But if there is a closure needed for you to go and say, to someone else, it's a huge responsibility when you have those type of things. And we don't have the right to tell someone, you're going to pop it. No, we don't do that.
Right. I'm very careful delivering news
Yeah,
that might be misconstrued as
exactly.
horribly negative.
Yeah,
But first of all, I don't think death is an ending. I think it's a
true.
beginning.
Right.
But or it, I love him so
Yes.
much, and I see it not gonna
Mm,
happen. So I'm careful. I say, well, let's just say that maybe he's not the man you're going to spend the rest of your life
Yeah.
with. So I
Yeah.
don't sugarcoat things, but I
Yeah.
don't go, "Well, forget it."
Yeah.
It-
No, no, there's, as you said, there's an etiquette and a responsibility
right.
into what we do. And if somebody says just lay it all on the line, there's still, the way we lay it on the line.
They don't
And
want you to really lay it on the
yeah,
line.
I mean, I remember my brother was 17 or something like this, and somebody told him he was going to be dead at 30. And it stayed with him, And even though his
No
mom and his sister were sidekicks and we saying, no, you're not, that stayed with him. So,
course.
he's 72 now. So,
We have a tendency to hold on to
yeah,
negative things
yeah,
because it scares us
yes,
and we don't have control.
right.
So if we hold on to it, we think we might be able to control it, put it off, change it,
Mhm.
but that's not the way it works.
But
So,
we can change our reaction towards it, but if
yes.
something has been spoken, that is the path that you have to take. It doesn't matter how many times you try and take another path, it will always lead you back to that path. And it can be done the easy way or the difficult way. Right? So resistance is futile, right?
Yes.
You have to allow and go with the flow. And our egos don't want to do that because we want to be in charge. And sometimes it's just surrender. You're not giving yourself up. What you're
Mm-mm.
doing is allowing things to happen to you in the way they're meant to happen to you.
Release it to the universe.
Yes.
I say that a lot. Just,
Yes.
I don't know what to, I don't know. You know what? Chill out
Yeah.
and just release it to the universe because what's going to happen is going to happen. Whether you fret or cry or change your path, it's done.
Yeah.
It's coming. And embrace yourself.
Yeah.
Heal yourself.
Hmm.
The biofield
Hmm.
around us is so strong. That old body mind connection
Hmm.
is so happening. And when I did have cancer, I didn't do the why me thing.
Hmm.
I just went through it.
Yeah.
And my surgeon said I've never seen anybody go through this with so much grace. And I often question, why didn't I fall apart? Why
Yeah.
didn't I cry? Why? I just didn't.
Well,
Not
a big reason was is because you knew you were going through it. You knew
right,
there was the other side for you.
right. And the other side was more wisdom and
Yes.
uh, more development of my mind. And every time I hit something like that, I chose to face it and came out so much wiser
Yeah.
and better at what I do. So,
Yeah. I think it's, I have fibromyalgia and I've always been an asthmatic. And so there's a certain amount of restriction of what the body can do.
right.
And I think in a lot of ways it was to dampen my energy. My energy was just too far out there for people. What I could see, how I lived the dimensional traveling, it was just too much. People weren't there yet. And I
Right.
think that I was given the illness to dampen my energy so that it could be more receptive for people to receive from me. And, maybe as the energies rise, the body will heal. So,
Yes. I always thought that possibly those things happened.
mm,
Slow me
yeah,
down.
exactly.
That's what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes,
It's
you're too far ahead of the game. Come back. You've got to gather some more people, right?
right,
Yes,
right.
yes.
And it
Yeah.
did slow me down. And
Mhm.
it did teach me patience, which I'm
Yeah.
terrible at as a person.
Oh, the big P word. Yes.
Yes. And I'm still so patient with everyone
Yeah.
else.
Yes.
I'm not as much as I'd like to be with myself, but
Yeah.
I keep working on it.
Patience, persistence, permission,
Ah, yes.
perseverance. It's permission. I was constantly giving, everybody else permission over my own life until it was like, I don't need your permission. The only one that needs the permission is me, right? Uh,
Boundaries.
Boundaries, right? And then persistence and perseverance is that it doesn't matter if I've slowed down, I'm still going to get there with the persistence and the perseverance and the patience.
Yes.
because and when we do slow down and we do just allow, and we maybe it's one toe in front of the other or one foot in front of the other, now and again a leap, we realize there's so many answers all around us. There's so much love and everything all around. We're busy chasing something when it's here all the time.
Yes. Oh, yes, that is so true. Um, I don't chase things.
No,
I
not
let
anymore.
them happen. Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes,
just let them happen
yes.
because it's already determined by the universe.
Yeah.
So I sort of just, my dad used to say, you have to learn to roll with the punches.
Hmm.
But it's true.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
learn to roll with it. And I say to people, please just release your grip on the steering wheel. Just a little
Mm,
bit. Take a deep breath and take one big rotation back,
yeah.
and you'll feel better. You can't squeeze life, it doesn't work.
And that breath is so important, isn't it? You know, breath is, we can't live without breath. Nothing's going to work without breath. Holding our breath, clenching ourselves, no energy can run through us if everything is shut down. And so
Right.
just releasing it out. I always say 3 good deep breaths, and you find your chakras will, strengthen up. You'll find your mind will calm down, and everything about you will be more slow mo, and you're more in the moment. And in that moment, you're seeing what I was uptight about. The answer's right in front of me. I couldn't see it because I was so clenched. And
Right.
so that breath of everything, when we say take a breath, it literally is,
Yeah.
breathing
Yeah.
life back into you.
I really like Dr. Andrew Weil, and his breathing system is in through the nose,
Mhm,
fill your belly up 5 counts, hold it
mhm,
5 counts, and blow it out through your
mhm.
mouth 5 counts. By the third or fourth breath, you're like,
Yeah, yeah,
wow, I just love that. And
yes.
I suggest it to everyone. I'm going to start learning Qigong.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I
Yes.
have some things I'd like to do with it, and
Mhm.
it's there. Just Google it, and a
Yes.
million videos for your
Yeah,
kidneys, your heart,
yeah,
your allergies.
yes,
I saw one for asthma.
yeah.
So it's breathing,
Mhm.
meditation, and movement, and
Slow movement too. It's like
very.
Tai Chi, but even slower. And every single movement is a deliberation. And it's
Mhm.
very, very slow and in the rhythm. And every pause and every poise is a deliberate thing. And um, where I used to live, we used to see the Chinese population down by the lake every morning,
Yeah,
doing it. And it's just that fluidity. Life is fluidity.
right.
It's constantly in
If you
flow. And
let
yeah. And so the Qigong is tapping into that fluidity and allowing your body and your mind and your psyche and everything to go with that flow. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing to do.
um,
You'll enjoy it.
yes, I really like it. I have these allergies, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to an allergist, and they're going to shoot me full of
Yeah.
stuff I'm allergic to, and then they're going to give me more stuff. And I went, wait a minute. And there's Qigong for allergies,
Yes. Yes.
for everything.
Yes.
The less I put into this body, the better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely the better.
And like acupuncture, it's releasing energy. Where we're in pain is blocked energy. And what the needles do, or the acupressure does, is release the energy, release the chi. And when
Mm-hmm.
the body is in full energy, and I don't mean, running a marathon, I just mean in
No,
full flow in the
right.
energy, you are in that beautiful state of flow. There is the clarity. You are in breath. You're not in pain, right? So there are so many modalities out there that have been around for thousands of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, aren't a fad. They've been here for a long time and they work. That's the reason why they've been here a long time.
But they're news to so
Yes,
many
yes.
people.
Like meditation,
Yes,
right?
yes. I say if you're busy, meditate 15 minutes a day. If you're busier, meditate an hour.
Hmm.
It's just it's all relative. what you do to help yourself.
And meditation doesn't mean cross legs going on high.
No,
It could be a walk in nature, a swim, a bike ride, or, just something that takes you out of mind.
right, right. That clears
Mhm.
your mind. And as I'm falling asleep, I look in, and of course it's eye movies, I call them, and
Yeah,
colors,
yeah,
and I go. I
yeah,
just go away, and it's really wonderful. But that's another thing we could teach.
yes.
There's a
The thing
lot.
is, oh, I can't wait to go back to normal. No, thank you. The
No, it's
normal was
never going to be like it.
dysfunctional. The reason why we had COVID was to say to us, normal isn't working. And then I have another psychic that is every year that they speak to her and she writes a book about what the year is going to bring. And she says, we're in this for 4 years, not COVID, but the transition. We're in
Yes.
the transition for the next 4 years. And at the end of that 4 years, society is going to be in a much different energetic state than it has been, which we need to have
I
in
was
order
just
for
going to go,
humans
yeah,
to live, right? Yeah.
we do. We so need that. I wrote an article for Ariana Huffington's Thrive Global blog about what COVID has done to
Mm-hmm.
couples.
Mm-hmm.
Either it's blown you apart
Yeah.
and you can't stand to hear them breathe or chew, or it's made you closer together.
Yes.
And it's really up to you. Everything is up to you.
And if
I don't
it's blown you apart, maybe you were not meant to be together in the first place because you did not meet on the right energy. My daughter's just had a baby 2 weeks ago, and it is COVID time, and she's not well from the birth. And my son-in-law has taken time off work to be there, and because of COVID, it's just them, and they find ways to laugh in the midst of all the exhaustion, the everything else, and he's up every 5 seconds doing this and doing that, and um, they laugh about it, or they make jokes of how exhausted they are. And I think that is something that's so important, is that people fall in love with the chemistry or with the illusion of what it can be. And it's like you need to have the foundation of camaraderie,
you do,
that
friends.
soul and heart connection, that friendship. Because when love is tested, if that friendship is there, it can weather it. If it's just love and nothing else, that's when you find it goes shatter, shatter, shatter.
Well, that honeymoon period
Yeah.
happens for a reason
Yes.
because we're meant to procreate. But when
Yes.
the honeymoon period is over, that's when you discover
Yeah.
real love. Is
Yes.
it right? Or maybe I was just honeymooning and
Yes.
it isn't what I thought, and all the oxytocin and serotonin that is released when you fall in love, that's what that was.
I mean, I'm sure you have read for a lot of people who are saying, I love him, I love him. And I say, yes, but it's not good for you. you know,
Possibly
it,
it's not the best
and
thing.
not the best choice for you, love. And it's like you must find that love for him, for yourself first.
Yeah.
Because when you love yourself in your life, that's how they're going to love you. If you're looking for someone to define you, refine you, complete you, you are going to constantly be an empty vessel. It's going to let you down.
It has to come from your
Yeah.
heart
Yes.
for everything,
Yes.
everything, illness,
Hmm.
a good relationship, being a good parent, being a friend. Uh,
Your
do
career.
Yes, I was just, that was next because I do a lot of career advice, and I always say, well, if you could wake up in the morning and be really excited to go to work, what would that job be?
Yeah.
And that's where we start. And
Yes.
people are like, wow, I didn't know the fact that I could draw could
Yeah.
actually be made into a career.
Right. Right. It's that meaningful purpose, purpose going back to, I always say that we're all a beautiful instrument. And when we discover what that instrument is, we learn to play it. And then we find an orchestra to play with and create a symphony that is invitational out to the rest of the
That's
world. But it's up to us to discover what our instrument is and to
right.
learn how to play it and to whom to play it to or with. And it's not about that instrument is, the soloist is more important than the triangle. It is about what does it do, in the embodiment of that music, because it's then coming together in harmony, in sync with one another. And we
Right.
are meant to be that. The I must become part of the we.
Yes.
If it's the we and you've forgotten your I, then you're never going to be a part of anything, because you've abstained from being you. But when you are abundant in yourself, in your I, and you bring yourself to the we, now you are really a contributor to that collective, and
The
you really can make that music.
consciousness,
Yes.
right? We're kind of all in it,
Yeah.
but we love to see what separates us from other
Right.
people. And that's
Why?
crazy. Yeah, why?
Why?
I don't like it. And I just got a thought. What was it? Okay, so if you have to define yourself by the outside,
Mhm.
something is wrong.
Right.
And it takes bravery
Yes.
and strength and
Yes.
courage to
Yes.
reach out and ask for help.
Yes.
It is not a weakness. And that's how we learn.
It's like
I
like failure, right? There is no failure is giving up and not doing anything. But
mhm,
but trying and falling on your backside and getting back up and trying again, that's courage.
yes. And the universe goes, oh, we keep throwing that in her path. And instead of crumbling, she went
Yes.
through it.
And
Mm, rotate on a higher level of wisdom.
yes. Yes. And look at her strength, look at her wisdom, look at her courage, look at the inspiration she is to other people, right? So, the best teachers are those that have gone through it. The people that I interview here in Self Discovery Media are the people that have gone through it,
Mhm.
because the your skill now, the gift that you have to share with everyone, is because of the journey that you've taken.
And what a journey it has been.
Right, right. And it makes your life more interesting. You know that anything could be thrown at you. And even if the thing is going like, what the dosh, that, it's like, okay, all right, roll up the sleeves, let's face it. Whether you
Right.
want to or not, because you know it's in you to do so. But you can say to the universe, okay, that's enough now.
No, it doesn't work that way. They're like, we're not done with you yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with me the very very hard knocks are over now. There are little bumps in the road which I can just easily get over, but I think the hard knocks are over. I'm here now for the next 20-25 years to just enjoy, my work, my passion, my conviction, and the impact that it has, and without apology. That's another thing. You want to do things without apology. Never
Yeah.
apologize for who you are, right?
Mm-mm. No, you're here for a reason
Yes.
and you're on a path for
Yes.
a reason.
Yeah.
And I know what that thought was, letting, as we get older, letting go of toxic people.
Amen.
That is so hard to do. But
Yes.
they're energy vampires, I call them.
Ah,
And they,
piranhas.
yeah,
Piranhas.
they suck the life out of you and they
Yes.
feed off of your positive energy.
Yes.
And as we get older, they show themselves and it's very difficult to do, but it is so important. Another boundary issue.
It is. And it's what frequency are you on that's inviting them?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, change your channel, mate.
Right.
You're on the wrong channel.
Right. Speak it into the remote. I want to be on a better plane.
Which means I have got to go in and embrace my own heart, my own spirit, my own soul.
Mm-hmm.
And that will automatically raise your vibration of love and kindness. Ah, here comes the water. This comes up in every show, but it's coming up right now.
Oh, I wish I was on that
Yes,
beach.
the beautiful beach and the clear skies and the lovely wind blowing everything away. But that's the thing. There's always something. I love nature. I love going out in the wind. I love it blowing away my cobwebs, and I love water because it's such a wonderful conduit. And I love trees as they rustle and they speak to you. And then you see the puppy dogs and the horses and the children all running around. Nature's always got a way of lifting you up and rechanneling you, right? Tap
I
in.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
It does that. Tap in.
I was just going to say, I love winter
Mm-hmm.
and the snow and the crispness. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you're alive. And I love thunderstorms
Mm-hmm.
and rain. And everybody's like, huh? Why? It's just, it's like an Adams family thing. I just love those kinds of days. And
It's
they're,
your form of cleansing, your form of rejuvenation, right? It's like,
mm-hmm,
tap into that something that rejuvenates you. If you get a rejuvenative feeling from something, do it more often.
mm-hmm. I love when I hear there's going to be a big thunderstorm and a lot of rain. I'm like, yeah. And everybody else is like, ugh.
I don't mind the rain, the bucketing, no. Where I'm living right here in Victoria, we're right on the waters. We get a lot of wind and a lot of gales, and
Oh,
it can be
nice.
very dramatic. Sometimes you go along to the waterfront and you see the water just crashing over, and it's something exciting about that,
So powerful.
It's like a shift of movement that's absolutely wonderful. And the thing is, it's going on all around us all the time. And if you just plug into it, it can go on within you, right?
Yes. And let's not forget, Earth Day is this month. I think it's the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to turn our lights out. We're
Mm-hmm.
going to light candles. We're going to do things that are good for the earth. And it's really important to unplug, not just you,
Yeah.
but all that electrical stuff
Yes.
that gives
Yes.
us that magnetic field that I have started at night removing my phone and my date book from my bedroom and putting it in the office
Mm.
because I feel it's interruptive to
Yeah.
my energy flow.
5 o'clock, I'm off the computer. It's
Mm-hmm.
the end of work day, right? And then it's
Right.
nighttime. And
Yes.
I may check the phone just in case the appointment has changed or anything, but unless it's an emergency or something I have to do on a time frame, that's it. Work's done. Give me
Boundary.
7 hours, that's it.
Yeah. My daughter called the other day. She goes, Mom, it's 5:30. Why are you still working? And I said, Oh, I've been working till 7:45 at night. Mom,
Hmm.
you need to make hours and you need to
Yes.
stick. Promise me you're going
Yeah.
to shut off your computer and stop.
Yeah.
Word to the wise, right?
Oh,
This,
yeah, we're very good at giving the wisdom, but accepting it is
right.
another thing. And every now and again, along comes somebody with a little kick in the butt just to
Yes,
remind you, right? And it's
yes,
okay. Accept the kick.
very
It's just
wise.
putting you back on track. Yeah.
I'm grateful for that.
Yes, exactly. I go and take a few days off every month to go and see family. And as I said, just went to see my grandson, and certainly just sitting there, just holding this new
Oh,
life,
that
and all
energy.
all that energy and all that, just all the wonderment of who he's going to be and what he's going to do, and just enjoying him. It just, you flash back to your own children and you go, I can't remember the struggles. Now I remember, the crises along the way, but I can't remember how many times I got up in the night. I can't remember the pain after birth. Or, I can't remember any of that because that goes with the sheer joy of the child, right? And so it's the same with any pain. We get through it and then we tap into what the joy of life is, and then we don't remember the pain anymore. You might remember it in your head, but not in your feeling.
I remember all of those things that you spoke about, but I remember them in a happy place.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't
Not the
remember them
struggle.
as pain. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to put things to bed,
Yes. Yes.
compartmentalize things
Yes.
in your head.
Yes.
Otherwise, again, we're full circle. You can't see the forest for the trees.
Right. Right. Exactly. And folks, we've got the answers are always, 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 always there with us,
Yeah.
always. But every now and again, we've got so much static going around, or there's just too much information coming into our head and our heart and our soul. We don't know what the clarity is. And you're the clarity concealer there. It is just showing people, look, this is your map, this is your road, this is where your crossroad is, this is the path that I feel is beneficial for you.
Mhm.
Again, it's still your free will of what you take, but you're just being that clarity reader of showing them what paths they can take. So, we've needed psychics since the beginning of time. We will most certainly until the end of time. And I think more and more as we move forward, um, like the shamans,
Yeah.
and the medical healers, they're still around, they're still revered,
Mhm.
and we need more of them. So we need more of you around. So I hope you're not thinking of retiring anytime soon, because in
Not
this transition right now, you're going to need a lot of you.
No, I this is something I'll just keep doing until I
Yes,
cross over.
right.
And then, you know, uh, it's actually easy for me to do, and I love it.
Yes.
I love helping people find their way. They're swimming through life, and
Hmm.
the water gets thick, and I can thin it out and show them that it's not as bad as they think it is.
Yeah. How
We
to
have a
get it out of the sewage into the clear water.
Right, right. Go to the islands and swim.
Mm,
It's fine. Life
yeah.
is going to be fine.
Yeah.
But we have a tendency to forget and to focus on negative issues. And no, that's not the way to go.
We're conditioned to go to the drama.
Yeah,
And then we're kind of end up in the soap opera, right? You don't want your life to be a soap opera. And it's who sang that song, No More Drama?
I
Um,
I don't know.
oh gosh, her name is right there. Anybody who's hearing this, you can drop it in the comments. Uh,
Right.
a big singer, still around very much today, and she did it after 2000, 2001, after the 9/11, and it was no more drama, no more pain. And we all have a drama or a trauma in our lives. It happens, it's part of our life's lesson. The
Yeah.
whole thing is tap into your emotions and what they're telling you, but don't get stuck in them.
Always keep moving.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
you can relax, you can rest.
Hmm.
Or if you're not feeling great, stop looking for an answer
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
Just don't feel great. Watch TV, read a
Mhm.
magazine, take a nap. But if you keep looking, there's not always an answer apparent to you.
Right.
And it's very frustrating. I should feel different. No. And that word should,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
parental.
It's going through it when you turn back and look at what you've just done, and you turn back at like the experience you've just gone through, and you look at who you are now. Every time I face something difficult, I look back and go, but I went through that. I went through that. Not only
Right.
was I standing, I was stronger. I said, if I could
Hmm.
go through that, I can go through this. Is it a pain in the butt? Yeah, but let's just get through it quickly.
Right. Right.
Right?
Let's be friends with change
Yes. Yeah.
and don't run from our pain. Face it. It's
Yeah.
like, sandpaper,
Mm.
but do it. Go with it.
Yeah.
There's a lesson, there's an expansion in your mind.
Hmm.
And that's how life works.
Yes.
Get on
Yes.
board.
The thing is, when we step into what our beautiful, meaningful purpose is, what our gift is that, as you said, it's not work. It's a passion. It's a love. We're going to do it for as long as we can, right? And we'll stop when we can't do it anymore, you know?
Right.
And
Right.
for as long as that gift is there, the purpose is there, we will do. And the, the beautiful response of seeing people being illuminated by it, having that clarity, being able to go out there and face the world and see how to make that change. Why do people not change? Is because very often they just don't know how. I don't know where to put my foot. I don't know which
Exactly.
direction to go in. Well, if you give them that clarity, put your foot here, this is a path there, it's still your free will, it's still your choice. But at
Right.
least you can get into movement of that change now.
I always say, do the next best thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that is,
Yes.
just do it.
Just
Because
don't be stagnant.
no, that's like, that's bad. That's like death.
Yes.
The bad kind of death. That's
Hmm.
just, sit around and get stuck in your head, and you see things, your perception changes, and your world looks funky, your answers are wrong, you're telling other people and yourself things that are not correct.
Yeah.
So it's very important. Love yourself. You're so worthy. And the
Yes.
feelings you have are valid.
Yes.
They're yours
Yes.
and they're valid. And don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
The pain you're going through right now isn't an illusion. You're in that pain, but
Hmm.
you're not meant to get stuck in that pain. It is there to teach you, to show you, and you're meant to go through the process. What
Yeah,
you're meant to learn from it will be revealed later, maybe not straight after, maybe years later.
right.
And maybe it's just simply to show you your strength,
Hmm.
to show you your ability. Maybe that's all it's meant to do. Um, and it's just also lighten up on yourself, right?
Yeah, ease up.
Yeah.
Everybody's so hard on themselves.
Yeah.
Don't expect everything to be peaches and cream. And if it's not, don't give yourself a hard time over it.
Right.
Just,
Yeah. Just
just
because
roll.
it's not light doesn't mean it's dark. Become the light in the dark.
Right. My daughter used to say to me, Mom, chill in the gray, please. Take your white, your black, come into the center a little bit and
Mm,
just hang out.
yeah.
Just
Yeah. Yeah.
a wise one.
Yes, there's always going to be something that comes along and triggers us because, that's the human condition. And it's like, look at it and go, okay, why am I rising to this bait? It's there's something from the past that doesn't mean it's going to be repeated or I'm back there again. It's just maybe a warning. Like if you
Mhm.
continue down this road, that's what's going to happen. So don't change directions. But the
Right.
big emphasis is on be willing to change, to pivot, to move forward.
Yeah, to get jiggy, as they say,
Get
with
jiggy at it.
change. Yeah, with change. Change is good.
Yes.
And it's the only constant
Yeah.
in the universe. So to try and fight it
Mm,
or set things up so that you feel you're in control. Control's a weird thing. You don't
yes.
need to have control. You need to know who you are.
That's where the control is. The control is I know my boundaries. I know what I can do, what I can't do, what I will do, what I won't do. That's where
Exactly.
the control is. Other than that, I am flapping in the wind and I'll go
Yes,
wherever the wind takes me.
yes,
So root well so that you can, as your tree, branch out and shiver and shake in that wind without fear. So,
yes. Oh, so much I would like to share with people about how to live your best life and not trip yourself up
mm,
constantly with ideas and things you feel you need to do.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You've got to be this by this age and you've got to be that. I'm millennial, so completely thrown that out. I mean, my daughter's 32 with the first child. My other children are 36 and 38. The 36-year-old will eventually, when he has a girlfriend. My 38, no children.
Uh,
She's the traveler. She's the live life in every moment. And it's okay. This expectation of the you should have by now. No, they've rewritten the book of what the should haves. And
right.
it's okay. It's okay because they're paving a new path for a new day, which is good.
When you do that, by this age, I should be making
Yeah.
this much money and I should be married and I should have children in this kind of house and this
Yes.
type
Picket
of car.
fence. Yeah. 2.2 kids. Yeah.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
You are. And disappointment.
Hmm.
Yes.
And you're thinking, why is all this happening to me? Well,
Yeah. You
it's
bought into the expectation, but it wasn't your expectation. It was society's expectation.
right.
Yeah.
It's personal.
Yeah.
It's your issue. Own it.
Yes. And redirect.
Yes, redirect. I like that.
So if people want to redirect, how do they find you and what does a general reading entail?
Okay. Well, first of all, they can find my site at www.intuitivesolutionsHK.com. Or they can just call me 717-618-8217. Um, I if you call me for a reading, it's either 45 minutes or an hour. It is not expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I will ask you to write down a few questions, things you want me to look at, because cold reading is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
You're running through the jungle, you don't get anything done. This gives us the ability to, for me, to look at the things you want clarity on. And that's what we do. And it's great. Read my testimonials.
Mm-hmm.
Read everyone's testimonials if you're going to go to a psychic.
Right. And obviously right now you're doing it either by phone or by Zoom or by some other ways because of COVID.
Yes, I love to work on the phone
Mm-hmm.
because people think I can't see them.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I have no clue how they're reacting, but I do.
Yeah.
I do Zoom a lot. I can do FaceTime, any Skype,
Mhm.
anything,
Right.
any platform. I hardly ever do in person unless you live close
Mm-hmm.
by. I prefer that you are not seeing. I'm not seeing your face
Right.
because I'm seeing it, but you think I'm not, and then
Right.
you
Yeah.
keep more than
You're seeing what you need to see, not what they're showing you.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I'm busy, leave me a message. I'll get right back to you.
Excellent. Well, you're on Facebook,
On
Intuitive Solution, SK, Solutions K
HK.
H K H K, Instagram, Intuitive
Yeah,
Solution HK, and in LinkedIn, you're Holly Brooks, Intuitive
right.
Solutions.
Right. And I have a, my regular Facebook page and then the profile and then my intuitive solutions page. I post on all of them every day. I am on social media everywhere. It's frightening.
We've got to post what we have to post, right? It's sometimes
Exactly.
a saying will come up for me, and I find a picture that matches that saying. I create a poster, and off it goes because it's what's
Yeah.
meant to be said today. So, yeah, it's the allow, the allow, the allow, right?
Right.
And what comes is what's meant to be, and just don't fight it. Just go with it. It will be revealed of what it all means. Stop looking for the meaning. Well, I've got the map, but I need to know exactly what my next step is. No, you don't.
I
You
was just
just
going to
need to
say,
be
no, you don't.
prepared for the step. Just be prepared for that step and then take that step out in wonderment, in exploration, in a sense of adventure. And life will be so much more exciting.
Life is an adventure. So
Hmm.
live it as such.
Yes, yes, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Holly. It's been an absolute delight.
Oh, thank you. It has been wonderful. You are very wise, my friend.
Right back at you, love. We've lived a
Thank
long
you.
time and gone through the experiences, right? We allowed, right? So,
Right.
and everything that we were given as a child, that we
Mm,
had to learn through our years of bucking up against the expectations and the should haves and you must haves, and having gone through all of that and come out the other end of like I'm back to the beginning, but more enriched
it's
and
safe.
more abundant and more ability to really do the work that we were meant to do. So, right, we're in the
Thank
flow, no
you
fighting it, just go with it, right?
much. Namaste.
Namaste to you too, my love. So remember, folks, Holly is here for you just to help you get that clarity of what your next path is. There's so many people right now that are unsure of what tomorrows are going to bring and what your part is in it. Just getting that clarity of this is what's available, this is the step that would be best beneficial to you. It helps so much because it allows you to tap into yourself and understand what voice is speaking to you and how to move forward. So you're not alone. Holly here is here to help you. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. You will hear many, many shows here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. We have new shows for you out every week. Just find them on our podcast or What's New. If you feel that you have something to share that makes a difference in the lives of others, or you too feel that you could be a host, please contact me at info@selfdiscoverymedia.com and we will be glad to speak with you. Have a wonderful day.